President Cyril Ramaphosa is committed to strengthening relations with the leader of the Sahrawi people. Ramaphosa is hosting President Brahim Ghali in Pretoria today. The right to self-determination for the people of Western Sahara has been top of the agenda at today's meeting in Pretoria. Talks on peace and security as well in the region have also made it into these discussions. Let's bring in our reporter Govan Whittles, who's outside the venue for the meeting, Govan, and we're expecting the two heads of state to once again address the media shortly.
To take questions this time, Tembi, that's the really important part that we hope to get to, especially after the call by the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, to intensify diplomatic efforts to not only get that referendum that was agreed to in 1991 by the UN resolution to be held, but also to protect and safeguard the territorial integrity of the Western Sahara and Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. We're expecting the two presidents to walk into the courtyard any moment now, and we've been told that we'll be able to pose a range of different questions, not only to our president, but also to the Sahrawi people's president. What's interesting here is the delegation from the South African side. We noted that the chief of the South African military is here, and he's also been joined by a number of other senior ministers, which includes the Minister of Communications, the Minister in the Presidency, Mondli Kungubele, the Minister of Education, as well as the Minister for Women's Rights and Arts and Culture, and of course the Deputy Minister of the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. The Minister herself, Naledi Pandor, currently in London attending to another event, so he's representing her here. But we do expect to have dynamic engagements with the two presidents once they get into the courtyard and pose questions which range from what kind of intensification we can expect from South Africa and SADC more broadly, and some responses to the number of countries who are recognizing the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic versus those that are strengthening diplomatic ties with Morocco. Earlier, the President made a few comments about the state visit and its importance. Perhaps while we wait for them to arrive, let's take a look at what our President had to say about the state visit.
We don't have those remarks on the ready just yet, but you and I, let's continue to talk just a bit about the Sahrawi and what it is that this commitment by South Africa can help achieve when you consider that they've been fighting for self-determination as really long ago as 1975, when Spain, the then colonial power, left, and there was that conflict which ultimately led to the Moroccans now controlling about 80% of what the Sahrawis say is their rightful territory.
Important to note here that not only has South Africa recognized the Sahrawi people's claim to the territory which Morocco says is part of its southern province, but South Africa has also extended bilateral engagements with the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, and they have 4 agreements that have already been signed, and of course negotiations on those agreements will be underway. I see some of the ministers are starting to arrive there, and you'll also see the Chief of the Defense Force seated there ready for the question and answer session. They've just emerged from bilateral talks, and the aim of these talks was meant to talk about the strengthening of relations towards supporting the self-determination of the people of Western Sahara, but also what they can do on the African Union platform to get more countries on the continent to join this cause. Interesting to note that some of the recent developments in East Africa include a statement from the new president of Kenya that Kenya's position has changed and they won't be recognizing the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. That's just one of the developments that has concerned countries like South Africa, who are leading the charge. The president called for the decolonization of the Western Sahara, obviously describing Morocco as a colonizing power in that region. And then the Sahrawi president more directly said that Morocco had destabilized the holding of the referendum in 1992, and they would have achieved their freedom long ago if that had been held. I believe we do have those remarks ready now, and the president is not yet here. So let's take a look at what he had to say about this state visit.
As the African Union works to attain the aspiration for a peaceful, secure, integrated and prosperous Africa, we are reminded that the decolonization of Africa is incomplete. In fact, as a people who struggled for freedom, we do believe that our own freedom is not complete until the people of Western Sahara attain their own freedom and self-determination. The decolonization of Western Sahara is essential to the achievement of the Africa that we want. We need to intensify international pressure so that the long-delayed referendum on the self-determination of the people of Western Sahara is finally held. In this regard, we reiterate our call for both parties to resume direct negotiations in good faith and without preconditions